Hey everyone, it's Ish here with Growing in OKC, and I'm coming to you from a front yard garden here in Oklahoma City. I want to give you a quick tour of this garden and show you some of the things that a friend of mine, you should check her channel out. It's going to be BrutalGarden, and I'll put a link to that right here since that is her garden space. And I just want to give her a shout out, get her started. You should subscribe, go check that page out. I want to show you some of the really awesome things that she's doing in her garden so that you can convert your front yard to a garden as well. So first is, I'm sitting here in front of this garden. It runs along, as you can see, in that area between the driveway and the neighbor's yard. And this is actually a lasagna garden style where she got a lot of grass clippings from people on Craigslist, and also as well rabbit droppings to give the plants a lot of the much needed nutrients. And then the soil is mixed into that as well. And so it really does a great job of holding in a lot of moisture down here for the roots of the plants to be able to access and grow. And then it also, as you can see, really a lot of the nitrogen from the rabbit and the grass clippings have made some of these pepper plants just super green in the garden, which is going to be great. So come on, I'll show you more. Okay, so this is the garden that I was just showing you, and some of the things I want to show you. Volunteer acorn squash that's just starting right here in the lasagna method. They just threw in some seeds from a meal that they'd had, some acorn squash, and the plant is coming up. And you can also see back here, this is garlic growing. And this trellis was where they had sugar snap peas growing earlier in the season. If you're familiar at all with Oklahoma, you know those sugar snap peas don't survive the summer. But that trellis was for sugar snap peas. And then down at this end by the street is where there are a lot of herbs. And so one of the things that I found really amazing is because they planted where it gets a lot of afternoon sun, the cilantro hasn't bolted yet, which is pretty awesome. I can't keep cilantro alive long enough to eat it in my garden. Then there's a lot of thyme and some dill right here, which is not only great for eating, but it's also really good for the butterflies, the black swallowtail butterflies. And then some flowers right at the corner. Not only did they convert the side of the yard and do the lasagna method there, but they've also got beds throughout the main portion of their front yard as well, really utilizing the space in their front yard to grow stuff so that the trees, the peaches and plum trees, can grow in the backyard and produce fruit there. So I'm going to take you around and show you some of the things that they've got growing on in their front yard. So here is the garden that kind of runs the property line between the neighbor on the other side. And one of the things I want to really show you that I like about this is the trellises that they've got built up right here. They're going to plant some stuff tomorrow going along there, but this is all no-till gardening here. So between the no-till gardening, the the grass as mulch, and the companion planting, you just know that this is going to turn out really well. The marigold's helping to keep some of the bugs off of the tomato and pepper plants in here. I also really like this. If you're familiar with our area, you recognize this as milkweed which is what monarchs like to lay their eggs on, and what they like to land on before the winter. And we have another bed here, and again here you can see the companion planting. We've got basil here, and then pepper plants, and then tomato plants. A little tomato on there. And then back here around this side of the property, some beautiful, beautiful second year asparagus growing right by some sunflowers as well. So you can tell they're going to have a lot of asparagus next year from this garden. And then over here by the asparagus, we have some kale. And in BrutalGarden fashion, they really just grow this kale, sure, for a little bit to eat, but also just for the butterflies to land on, and it keeps them away from some of the other things. And then we have some squash here that's going to grow up this trellis right onto the front deck. When you walk right out your door, how amazing is that? You walk right out your door and you're able to harvest some squash. Okay, so here she is herself, Megan, aka the Brutal Gardener. So Megan, how'd you get into gardening?
I first started gardening with my grandmother. She said I needed to learn gardening so I could learn patience. And after that, it just became something that I just started enjoying to do on my own. I really liked growing my own food. I really enjoyed seeing something come from something so little as a seed into a huge plant that can give me food and flowers, and I just got a lot of enjoyment out of that, and now it's gotten way out of hand.
Well, I don't know about you. My grandparents also tried to teach me patience, but I couldn't sit still long enough to to listen. So what's one of your favorite things to grow?
One of my favorite things to grow is various herbs and sunflowers. I like herbs because when you plant them, as soon as they start showing, you can start harvesting. You don't have to wait till June or fall or anything like that. They taste good, they're easy to manage, they don't need a lot of help, they flower, a lot of them reseed. Some of them are annuals or perennials, and they're very low maintenance. I also like sunflowers. I think that's the perfect flower. That's my favorite flower. It can give you shade, it can give you privacy, it can give you food, and it is one of the best pollinators out there. If you want bees and want something simple, plant sunflowers. Especially, they're very easy for children and new gardeners to plant.
Okay, and Megan, last question. What advice would you have to anybody who is going to start a front yard garden?
I would check with your city first to make sure that you are allowed, and I'd also go walking around your neighborhood or driving and to see what other people have. Some places don't allow you to have a front garden with vegetables. You can get away with a lot of flowering herbs and things like that, and maybe tuck in some things here and there. The second thing I would do is plan first. Dig your holes first, prepare your beds first. These are a lot of things so good to do in the fall time when you're not doing much, or even in the winter if it's not snowing or super cold outside. Prep all year round for spring and summer. And also, don't go too big too fast. If you want to get into gardening, start with something simple like various types of herbs. Start with simple plants. Don't start with anything that has a lot of diseases and problems like tomatoes. Some of your squashes are more difficult. And I also wouldn't start with anything that takes a lot of care during the year, with maybe some payout. These are your watermelons, your big pumpkins, things like that. They can look green and bushy from the street, and then you get close up and you've got squash borers or something else going on, and you've waited all this time and wasted all this water for fruit that you're probably not going to get.
All right, everyone, that's it for this episode of Growing in OKC. If you liked Megan at the Brutal Garden.
Please like and subscribe.
And we'll put the link below for her channel right there. And make sure you leave a comment below if you want to see more videos of me going around Oklahoma City and doing videos of Oklahoma gardeners. Leave me a comment below. If you're an Oklahoma gardener yourself, let me know and I'll probably show up at your house. This is Ish with Growing in OKC, wishing you the best of luck growing in Oklahoma City or wherever you're at.